The King defended his castle last night, cutting down the Rangers and leading the Mariners to a slim victory. Tonight, another battle ensues with the Rangers' newest starter and a stingy challenger. And welcome to Rangers Baseball presented by AT&T. We are live from Safeco Field up here in Seattle. Fans coming in, and Rangers fans have traveled. It's the middle game of our three-game series tonight. Rangers and Mariners, everybody getting ready. Rougned Odor and company in the dugout trying to bounce back from yesterday's opening game loss. And we welcome you in. Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nitkowski. And as we get ready for this one tonight, we look back at what the starting pitching has been able to do for the Rangers so far. It's been very impressive.
Yeah, very strong for the Rangers. And go back to spring training. There were some question marks coming out of camp. And what was this rotation going to be? How healthy was it going to be? And they started with a four-man rotation. But the Rangers have really answered the bell. The rotation has been strong. And here's the thing that sticks out to me. Of the 10 starts so far, only one of them has been under 5 innings. So guys are getting some length early. Always a concern in April as far as how deep they can get in the games. And so they've taken some of the pressure off of that bullpen. But these guys have been very good. There were some walks early on. That was a little bit of a concern, but they have really righted the ship and have been very good as of late.
All right, so tonight, Andrew Cashner makes his Rangers debut. It'll be interesting to see if he can go 6 innings tonight.
And this will be interesting as well. Now, Jeff Bannister had said 90 to 95 pitches are available for Andrew Cashner if he is throwing well. He's not worried about the weather necessarily. A cool night here in Seattle. So we'll get our first look now at Andrew Cashner as this already good rotation is now getting deeper.
All right, so that is the scene here from the competitive side of things. It's also a special night here in Seattle as we pay tribute to baseball's proudest moments. The day that Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier 70 years ago today in Brooklyn for their home opener. The Hall of Fame career began. A lot more on that when we return. As we celebrate Jackie Robinson's wonderful career and his impact not just on baseball tonight, but Jackie Robinson's impact on America. It's the 70th anniversary of his big league debut and his symbolic breaking of the color barrier with the Brooklyn Dodgers. What effect has he had on this country? That story's been well told, but individuals in today's game talk about what his actions meant to them today.
Jackie paved the way for guys like me.
What he did for the game, allowing, a lot of different ethnicities to be able to continue to play the game at the highest level is, second to none.
You know, a lot of us can sit back and say, oh, if I was in that position, I would have done this or that. But truth be told, he took a stand. And, you know, it's a lot of things that a lot of us probably wouldn't have had the courage to do because it was a rough time.
He was a trailblazer, and for him to do what he did in the time period that he did it, you know, battling all that adversity, not just on the field, but away from the field, you know, for him to, you know, to keep his mouth shut and just to play the game and to show people the right way to play it, you know, he's very special.
I mean, I feel like everybody should just really understand that day, you know? I mean, he changed the world, just not in just baseball, but the world in general. And for me to just put my jersey on, put that 42 on my back, you know, I thank him and his family, his legacy, and everything he's done for this world and also for me.
It's amazing that we get a chance to constantly remember and continue to educate people about what he did, not only for the game of baseball, but for the civil rights movement throughout not only the United States, but the world. He opened up so many doors and paved so many paths for people to do things that we get a chance to experience today. This is amazing. This is all thankful to Jackie Robinson.
And yes, a special night here in Seattle as we recognize once again baseball's proudest moment. Everyone wearing number 42 tonight. Rangers and Mariners coming up. By AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keep calm to learn more. And by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. We see the Space Needle, and now the big fella for the Mariners as he takes the mound, James Paxton. We get ready for the middle game of our three-game series. Let's take a look at our Southwest batting order for the Rangers. 4 wins and 6 losses. And today they'll start it off with Carlos Gomez in that leadoff spot. How about Elvis Andrus moving up to number 2 in tonight's game as he has batted just about everywhere in the order in this early part of the season for the Rangers. A spotlight on Joey Gallo as he continues to get it done. The last 5 games in particular been very good for Joey with 7 RBIs, and he continues to bat in the 8th spot in the order. Delano DeShields, the man called upon in left field tonight, and he will bat ninth.
And there's tonight's starter for those Seattle Mariners, James Paxton. See the 62% fastballs, but it's that curveball. Even though it's only 25% of the time, it's a pretty good pitch, very effective against both lefties and righties. We saw it and talked about it in the open. They'll throw that back foot one to righties, down and in, try to get them to swing over the top half of it, but he brings some heat as well. He's a big lefty, a lot of high expectations over the last couple of years, and they're really thinking this could be the year that he could really emerge, and so far that has been the case.
Yeah, what an incredible start you see right there. Has not allowed a run yet. A 1-0 record, just 3 walks against 13 strikeouts, and you know he's a guy. His name has been bandied about for a while here, and he has been on the radar. Taijuan Walker was the other guy. The two of them coming up. Taijuan Walker no longer in the organization, and so a lot of the hopes pinned on this guy's big left arm. He's ready to go at his first pitch. Strike one on Carlos Gomez.
See Carlos Gomez coming out hacking early. It's so interesting to follow him this year and watch the times where he's incredibly aggressive, and then there's times where he's working at bats. We see the 8, 9, 10 pitch at bats from Carlos Gomez, and it just makes it so difficult to game plan. A lot of times you're thinking as a starter, yeah, first pitch fastball, leadoff hitter's going to take it. You can't take that chance with Carlos Gomez.
And even though he did take that big rip on the first pitch and a little ambush attempt by Gomez, that still doesn't mean that he won't come back and work the count a little bit. Been patient here. The 2-1. Healthy cut. And a steady diet of heat right now from James Paxton. Count. Full count. Paxton, a big guy. 6'4", 220. The 3-2 pitch fouled off. Still a far cry from the great size of Randy Johnson, who did so well here in Seattle. But the comparison's probably difficult to avoid as he walks Carlos Gomez to start the game.
We'll take a look at the Seattle Mariners defense as Carlos Gomez trots down to first base. Gerard Dyson in left field. Leonis Martin, Mitch Haniger. A lot of new names there, a lot of new faces. Mater, we talked about him playing shortstop right now, why Gene Segura is out. And a couple of stars in Robinson Cano and Kyle Seager at second and third base, respectively.
Well, not much you can do to defend a walk, and Gomez with a great 7-pitch at bat is on base, and Elvis Andrus takes a strike. Andrus 2 for 4 yesterday, and you can see the outstanding numbers. Third in the American League with that 368 average, and the 400 on base gets him right near the top of the order tonight. There's the breaking ball, and it's 0-2 on Andrus.
You see Elvis looking out at James Paxton and giving him the head nod as to say, yeah, it's a pretty good breaking ball. It's going to be a tough one to hit. Wouldn't mind if maybe you threw a few less of those tonight.
Almost 100 points better than league average against left-handed pitching. Andrus has feasted on them and hits this one up the middle, but to his left forward Mater. He'll get the one out, throw to first for the double play.
Well, James Paxton has the curveball working. The high fastball is going to be very effective. This is an easy 6 unassisted to 3 double play for Mater, but that's the combination. When you have the big fastball and the big breaking ball, the way that you use those two things together allows James Paxton to elevate his fastball. He can't just live up there, even a lefty who throws 95, 96, but if you got the big breaker to go with it, it's very difficult to defend as a hitter.
So the base is now clean, and here is Nomar Mazara, and he'll take a strike. Nomar, 357 average, leads the American League with those 12 RBIs. count 0-2. We've talked a lot about some of his good at-bats against left-handed pitching. This is going to be a real test tonight for him.
He will have his hands full. You saw him let the first fastball go by, and a lot of guys will do that early in the game, want to get a look. But for Nomar now, having seen the fastball and the breaking ball, I got to believe the approach is going to be looking for fastballs out over the plate early in the count.
Shoots this one over to third. Seager right there, and that will end the inning. So a quiet top of the first against James Paxton. Now we'll look at the debut of Andrew Cashner coming up. Make his Rangers debut tonight. Scoreless game as we go to the bottom of the first inning, and chance for us to take a look at the Mariners starting lineup. 3 wins, 8 losses. Jarrod Dyson slides into the leadoff spot tonight with that great speed. And Haniger Cano. Kyle Seager batting 5th, and he has had the hot hand. Seager a little hitting streak at the moment. Mater, Valencia, Leonis Martin back in the lineup for Seattle. It's been a real tough start for him, and then Mike Zunino rounding it out.
And there he is, Andrew Cashner. See what he did a year ago. Obviously, this is his first start. Somewhat similar breakdown as far as the fastball and the slider combination compared to Paxton, who was fastball curveball. It's kind of his go-to breaking pitch, but certainly Andrew's got to be excited about making that first start of the year, dealing with that bicep soreness that he had in spring training, and essentially, as you could say, he missed 2 starts the way, if he was healthy in the way they would have liked to have started the season. But like we mentioned in the open, the Rangers have really held their own.
Fires this one a little tight. 1-1 the count to Jarrod Dyson. And Dyson, the numbers have not been good for him, whether you're talking batting average or simply on base percentage. Corners are in. And the count 1-2.
They have to protect against the bunt, as you see now. Ryan Rua and both Joey Gallo moving back with 2 strikes, but until you get a 2-strike count with a guy who can run like Jarrod Dyson, you have to play in on the grass on the corners.
Cashner's 1-2 pitch, and it's fouled away. Now Cashner, last year 5 wins, 11 losses in the time he split with both the Padres and the Miami Marlins, and that was one of the tougher years in his big league career. So when you talk about earned run average, excited to sign a deal in the offseason with the Rangers and pitch in his home state. Native of Conroe, which is about a good 45 miles north of Houston. And he is country strong, has that big strong right arm. Talking about the velocity earlier on about Paxton. Well, he can match it. 1-2. Out to center field. Gomez. Plenty of time to get there. 1 away.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense, which is delivered to you by Demontron RV. I mentioned Ryan Rua in there at first base tonight. You just saw Carlos Gomez run down that ball in left center field. And Delino DeShields getting a start tonight. I'm sure he's happy to be back out there. It's been some inconsistent playing time for him after the great spring. So certainly good to see him get a chance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, what a fantastic spring he had, but it's been very difficult to get in the lineup. And they're tonight against the left-hander. Mitch Haniger batting on the 2 spot for Seattle. Count 1-1. I mentioned earlier a little bit of a hit streak. He's got an 8-game streak going right now. He's looked at his average to 273. Got a little pop in that bat. And a weak chopper left side. Played for Joey Gallo, and there are 2 out. Joey continues to do a nice job.
One of the things that Jeff Bannister had talked about with Andrew Kashner pregame, or talked with us about in regards to Andrew Kashner and stuff, was the fastball movement. They said it has more of that kind of run as opposed to sink. And we just saw that right there, where the run will stay a little bit more horizontal. It does have some downward action to it, but kind of spoke as if that was more of the action that you would see. Now we can still get ground balls on that kind of movement. He said he was really strong on the glove slide as well, which means for him right now inside to a left-handed hitter. So those are a couple of things that you should be seeing tonight from Andrew Kashner. There it is right there. Run.
1-0 to Cano, who continues to do a little yard work there in that left-handed batter's box. Shoots this one the other way, foul. So the count 1-1.
You saw Robinson Cano kind of messing with the batter's box. There's really no such thing as a bad playing surface at the major league level. These grounds crews do such an awesome job. But I will tell you this, for me throughout my career, this was one of the best. One of the best mounds. And you say, oh, shouldn't they all be the same? All a little bit different. But the Seattle grounds crew did a really nice job. Always has here. Pitching mound, the playing surface. Beautiful field.
Get just enough moisture up here, not too much. Cano gets that batter's box to his liking, and now the 1-2 pitch just misses outside. It's 2-2. But Cano hitless in his last 6 at bats, but has still managed to drive in some runs lately for the Mariners. 8 RBIs in his last 5 games. He'll take one inside. It's a full count. There was a day, CJ, I saw a lot of Kashner in the National League. Boy, and he would light up the gun. Way upper 90s, occasionally 100, but he has consciously tried to dial that back a little bit in recent years. 3-2. And a bouncer right to Elvis Andrus. And that will complete a 1-2-3. Bottom of the first for Andrew Kashner. Nicely done in his Rangers debut. Underway today here in Seattle. Our Kubota Power Stats brought to you by Kubota. It's all about the fastball. James Paxton, he has a pretty good one.
Indeed he does, and you don't see this happen too often from the left side from starting pitchers either. So to see him up in that class, I think tells you everything you need to know. We've seen it already. Check that out. 100 miles an hour and harder. Noah Syndergaard in the league all of his own with his 151, but there's James Paxton at number 2. Even if you're 130, 25 or so less, or 15 I should say. How's that math? Pretty good? Something like that. Yeah, never mind. You can do it yourself.
Here's the 1-1. You were close enough.
That's a distant second. I should have just left it at that. Try to be a nerd and do the math and never fool myself.
Let the game come to you, CJ. Stay within yourself.
Now you would think that this would be a pretty good matchup for Mike Napoli on the fastball. The breaking balls, without a doubt, going to be an issue for him if they're down below the zone. But you know that Mike Napoli is fastball hunting. He doesn't care about that 100 miles an hour. There's no fastball that he can't handle. It's a breaking ball. I'd be a little bit concerned tonight with him.
Foul back out of play. A little surprised it's the first time they've ever faced one another. Now you would think that Napoli may have come across Paxton, although that's been part of the story. Paxton has had to miss some time in his very young career already. Infield back deep. Here's a 2-2. Good job of waiting on that one. Keeps the bat going. Napoli with a couple of home runs, 4 RBIs so far. Low batting average. We saw some good signs in Anaheim that maybe it was starting to really come together for him. And he strikes out swinging to start the second inning.
Well, the eyes light up for Mike Napoli on the high fastball. This one ended up going up out of the zone. It was an interesting conversation actually we had with Jeff Bannister yesterday about the guys that use the high fastball, and it comes out of a guy's hand. It looks big. It looks like you can get to it, but when the ball is up, it gets on you quicker, and it's much harder to get to than it actually looks. Very interesting for guys that use it well. They understand what the hitter sees, but they also understand that they have a better chance of getting it by.
Odor going after the first pitch, and this one a lazy fly ball to left. Dyson puts it away, and there are 2 out. So Paxton getting done what he had hoped to in these early innings. And this is the thing, this guy, do not want him to get comfortable, because so far this year he has settled into some pretty nice grooves. His first 2 starts have both been scoreless. 6 shutout at Houston. See, first pitch to Lucroy is low, and then came back home to face the Astros again and went 7 shutout against the Astros. Some pretty good tempo, and it's 1-1 on Lucroy.
So it's a pretty interesting note. It almost seems unbelievable that there have only been 9 pitchers in Major League history that have started their season with better than 6 shutout innings in their first 3 starts. And the Rangers are going to do everything they can to make sure that doesn't happen tonight, but that seems like a low number, right?
That seems like.
Am I reading it wrong? I mean, my math stunk. Am I reading this wrong too? I mean, it says it right here. If he could do it tonight, he would be the 10th pitcher in Major League history since 1900 to begin the season with 3 consecutive starts of at least 6 scoreless innings.
Berlin 2-2 the count.
No Mariner has ever done it. Jordan Zimmerman did it last year, 2016. Before that, it was Woody Williams in 2003. Yeah. So it's been a while.
Yeah, and when you look at the rest of the names, it's not like what you might expect. This one hit sharply on the ground to Valencia, who will jog over to the bag himself, and it's a 1-2-3 for James Paxton. We've played an inning and a half scoreless so far.
And the Rangers here at Safeco Field, and of course this is Jackie Robinson Day, and the tributes going on across baseball and all day, not just once game time gets here. Before the game, guys donning these Jackie Robinson t-shirts with equality on the front, and then on the back the number 42. So the guys with various different things to pay tribute to Jackie. The pins that we're wearing, some guys have custom shoes for today. Obviously the tributes pouring in on this day, as they are every April 15th, guys.
It is a special day. I mean, I think it's obviously it's more special for some of the guys who, you know, they really appreciate and understand and feel the impact that Jackie Robinson had on their lives. But you see it across the board. All the players take such great pride in this day. Jeff Bannister was asked today about, you know, this being another Jackie Robinson Day, everybody wearing number 42. Does it still mean as much today as when they started this several years ago? And so, no, it means more today, and you can sense it. And I think the ongoing education year by year with the new generation of ball players coming, it's very impactful this day around Major League Baseball.
And you really emphasized how much.
That's a smash by Nelson Cruz. He will turn and go to second. That ball stuck under the mat, and Cruz with a leadoff double.
Well, just to finish that real quick, let's take a look actually first at this replay. This ball is smoked down and in. Joey Gallo can't get a glove on it as he moves to his right. Now it was interesting because the ball got stuck near the bottom, and Delano DeShields first went over with his hands up. And that's kind of the rule, right? You don't go in there, but just in case, he decided, let me just pick it up because Nelson Cruz is going to be at second base anyway. So the umpire goes over there, and his third base umpire, Manny Gonzalez, if he goes over there and says, yes, that ball is stuck, it's fine, it's a double. But if for some reason he believes that Delano should have been able to get that ball out of the fence, then Nelson Cruz can keep running. So he didn't take any chances, and he went ahead and pulled it out and threw it in.
This one misses to Kyle Seager now. So the first base runner tonight for the Mariners, Nelson Cruz in scoring position.
So real quick, to finish that thought on what Jeff Bannister was talking about today, it makes sense as we get further and further away. Now 70 years is what we're celebrating this year. There maybe is a concern that the further you get away from such a historic moment, that maybe not everybody is up to par, up to date, and knows the details. And so he stressed the importance of education and making sure that we continue to recognize that historic moment, especially for these current players.
Castner checks his runner, and it's now 2-1 to Kyle Seager. Seager has been really swinging it since the ball club came home. Seattle back home, and on this stand he is 6 for 13. Has a modest 4-game hitting streak going. Yesterday 2 for 3, and hits this ball well out to right center. Mazzara is there, makes the catch. Cruz tagging, hesitated for a moment, and he will get to third. A good throw, and that might have been interesting.
Nomar's had a little throwing issues here recently. This one ends up being up the line. Now this ball sounded like it was hit hard, but it actually died a little bit. See how even Nomar almost got a little bit fooled. He plays it perfectly, gets behind the ball exactly the way that he should have. Now it would have been really close, and it would have taken most likely a near perfect throw to make that happen, but this one sailed on Nomar a little bit. You see him with the glasses. He's got him there just in case. It doesn't have him on. The sun is, you know, depending on where he stands, you're going to see here in a minute, he's going to actually walk into the shadow. So yeah, see how it is right there? It's kind of an in-betweener for him on whether or not he actually wants to have those glasses on.
Infield in now. Motter fouls one off. So everybody will be up on the edge to try and cut Cruz down at the plate. Whatever happened to the flip shades? I mean,
Old school, man. They were the best.
Everybody used to have those.
Those were awesome. They probably still have them. I haven't looked here. They would always still carry them in case anybody wanted to use them. There'd always be a case in the dugout. Used to be a dozen sets. I'm sure they don't have nearly that many anymore, but they're not stylish, Dave. It's not what the kids are doing anymore. It's Oakley's, or I'm not sure what brand that is, but whatever it is, right on top of the hat. You just don't want to get stuck having them on top of your hat when there's a ball in the sun, because you're not taking them off and putting them on when the ball's in the air.
Yeah, that's why the flips were so great.
They were just ridiculously heavy.
Oh, really?
I would put them on goofing around in days I wasn't pitching or whatever, just being dumb. Sit in the dugout. What was cool is the guys that did it right, that used those flip shades, because they had a little tab where you could kind of hit it with your finger. But the real way to do it was that you actually you hit the top of your hat. You hit the bill of your cap, and then that actually would have them knocked down. So you're not worried about trying to hit that tab. But they were very heavy.
3 balls and a strike on Motter now. So, and a third, 1 out. Cashner having trouble here with Motter. That was, look, there were a lot of things that appealed about maybe being a big league ball player one day as a kid. Full count. I think the coolest thing to me as a youngster was that would be pretty righteous to have a pair of flips.
Yeah.
And I think to have a fly ball hit to me and then flip them down in the process and make, wow, that was big league.
Without a doubt. A lot of fun to play with those things. It's probably changed a little bit now. I mean, these kids have everything. I don't know what they would want besides a big contract.
Motter draws a walk now, and first issued tonight by Cashner. No doubt not tickled by that, but it does put the potential double play in effect. Hey, Rangers Authentics is your home for the highest quality, most exclusive Rangers memorabilia, and we're talking about game-used equipment or jerseys that guys wore in the games, and a whole lot more. A portion of all proceeds will be donated to the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation. Go to texasrangers.com/authentics to learn more. Probably no flip shades though. As first pitch to Valencia is taken low.
But along those lines, you know, one of the coolest things for me after I had gotten drafted was the first time I had a baseball glove with my name on it.
Oh yeah.
You can get it anywhere now. It's not nearly as special. If you want to pay the money, you can get your name on your kid's glove.
Why would I want Nitkowski on my glove?
Well, give him a chance.
1-0. Cashner pours it in.
You put your name on it. It's got the legend of Dave Raymond and catcher's interference at the Little League level.
Cheater. Cashner's Rangers debut. Give up the double to Cruz. He's at third. Moderate first via the walk. And he does want to keep him close. Valencia, a guy you can double up if Cashner can get him to hit one on the ground here.
Yeah, it's interesting, I think, because the infield was all the way in. I thought maybe they would still go corners in, but with Valencia up, Joey Gallo's playing back now. And that means they're absolutely playing for that double play. I thought it was kind of interesting that they were going to try to cut off that run to begin with.
A slow roller. Can they turn it? They do! Wow, Andrews to Odor, and he's able to make the turn quickly enough on a very slow roller to get Danny Valencia.
This was a nice pitch here by Andrew Cashner. You heard this bat break right away. Locate that sinker in. Nice toss from Elvis. Perfect, and great job by Odor on the turn.
And the Rangers keep this a scoreless game. Off to the third inning we go. Ryan Rua will lead things off. Rua, Joey Gallo, and then Delino DeShields. James Paxton pumps one, well, in, but just off the plate.
Interesting call there. Looked like a strike, didn't it?
Yeah.
At least on our from our angle.
I was ringing that one up. Fielding Colbreth. Little break. And now it's 1-1 on Rua. Batting 154 coming into play today. Rua getting the start at first base. And it's just the second time in this early part of the season that somebody other than Mike Napoli has played first base, and both times it has been Ryan Rua.
Jeff Bannister certainly would like to keep Ryan Rua sharp. Play some left, play some first. It's so difficult for some of these guys, part-time players. But you see Ryan Rua chase that fastball up, and that's been the game plan here for James Paxton. Looking at some of these right-handed hitters, the way that he pitched to Mike Napoli, the way that he just pitched right there to Ryan Rua, get to 2 strikes and elevate the fastball. So difficult to catch up. That was 94 miles an hour.
Paxton walked Gomez to start the game, but since then has retired 6 in a row. A couple of strikeouts in there, and he deals very high to Joey Gallo. Good numbers for Gallo, 6th in the league with those 9 RBIs. Count 1-1. Well, we said earlier it'd be a big test tonight, real good test for Nomar Mazara. Same is true for Gallo. This is a very tough lefty on lefty matchup. 2-1.
We saw the first fastball up and in to try to get Joey Gallo a little bit uncomfortable. He painted the next one. Now, when Joey Gallo gets in a fastball count like he has here, if he gets one and he can catch it up front, he can take it a long way.
I love watching guys now check the barrel of their bats every time on foul balls.
Oh, yeah.
You see if it left any marks.
Give it a sniff as well, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. Gomez every time. 2-2. Oh, that's a full count, so good job here making him work a little bit. Paxton in a bit of a groove and is 3-2 on the way. That's called strike 3. Gallo down looking, and we pause, sending it back to the studio. A Chevy game break with John Radinger. Yeah, thanks, John. Scoreless ball game here tonight as DeShields takes a strike. So the Indians pounding lumps on the Tigers today. I'll tell you, last year that was a big story in that Central Division, the way they just absolutely dominated Detroit. 0-2 now to count.
Not only did it, but they did it to Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
I heard John talk about the 9 runs. I didn't get to see any of the game. I'm going to go back and watch because some pretty interesting stuff last year in Cleveland. When Justin Verlander was pitching in Cleveland with nobody on base, he was using multiple signs. There's only one reason why you do that, and that's if you're a little suspicious of what might be going on in the stadium. You should see this fastball fouled straight back. Nino, that's why you don't want to be a catcher, kids.
1-2. No appeal on that check swing. Mark Carlson, our umpire, down at first.
But Indians fans got really angry with me because of the suggestion that I made. But the only time you use multiple signs when there's never a runner on base is because you think somebody may be relaying signs somewhere within the stadium.
Shields battling nicely here with Paxton.
That's because he has struggled at that ballpark, and he struggled again today.
Well, have there ever been whispers about that?
Maybe.
I mean, there are whispers a lot of different
Sure. Toronto, you've heard about it. Man in the white hat. Yep. People get paranoid. Pitchers get paranoid. You feel like you throw a good pitch. A guy takes it. You feel like he's sitting all over a pitch that he shouldn't be in a certain count. You can absolutely get into a pitcher's head. Doesn't take much.
A lot of room in there.
Open for business.
Here's the 2-2. Oh boy. Another near miss. That one at 97 by Paxton. And DeShields has now worked the count full.
Back-to-back good at-bats here. We'll see if it can result in something for the Rangers.
Left-hander back to the plate, and well, he's humping up with each successive pitch. That one at 98.
And it's not a violent delivery either. That's the thing. It's pretty free and easy for a tall left-hander. Doesn't look like it's high intensity every single time the ball comes out of James Paxton's hand pretty smoothly.
Called strike 3, though. He gets to Shields looking, and in fact strikes out the side in the 3rd. Beautiful day here. Breakfast locale.
That's right.
C.J. Nikowski. Brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Texas Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer. Ford is the best in Texas. Well, another great one on hand tonight here in Seattle. Scoreless game. Rangers debut for that man, Andrew Kashner. And he fires one a little bit inside to Leonis Martin. Kashner has given up the double, walked one. He's still looking for his first strikeout tonight. And he's gone 2-0 to a guy who has really scuffled to start the year. You see the average, 3 for 36 for Martin. One in there to make it 2-1.
That's a good changeup from Andrew Kashner. He'll feature that to those left-handed batters, try to get them off the fastball once in a while, especially in fastball counts. So for him to be able to flip that in there in a 2-0 count, certainly a good sign.
Almost got Martin to chase one there. 3 balls and a strike now. Notice 1 walk, 12 strikeouts. And he'll bounce this one foul, so it's a full count. Well, the former Ranger going to face his old club in this series. Did not get to participate yesterday, but even after the game yesterday, still out there. Great folks catching up.
It's always good to see your old boys.
Martin hits this one well out to right field, but right there for it is Mazzara, and there's one away. Well, Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Girls on the Run and their dedication to empowering young girls and instilling confidence through running. Learn more about how you can get involved as a volunteer or a participant at the upcoming Girls on the Run 5K in your area. Just visit foxsportsupports.com. Kashner takes care of Martin, and now Mike Zunino Another of many Mariners below the Mendoza line. In the early part of the season, Zunino at 194. And he hits this ball sharply down the third baseline. That is a fair ball. He'll turn first. The throw from DeShields offline. So Zunino with a one-out double.
Good swing here for Mike Zunino as he gets a pitch. It's inside and is pretty quick to turn on it. Joey Gallo giving his best effort, but didn't have much of a chance. So watch here, ball in. A nice job of Mike Zunino. Think about a guy struggling to swing the bat lately. Everything Joey Gallo had to try to get to that ball. Now it took a little bit of a weird hop. Delino picked it up and fortunately just sails this throw. Again, on the money, a really, really good throw. Yeah, there's probably a play there similar to what we talked about with Mazzara, but he overthrows. Ryan Rule was in the right spot backing it up.
So now to the top of the order, Gerard Dyson. Always a threat to bunt. He flied out back of the first inning.
And as he struggles here, a couple of different options now. Joey Gallo is in, but also a push bunt to second base to see that big opening over there.
He pops this one up instead. Back of second base. Andrews is out there. And that is the second out of the inning. Well, Andrew Cashner making his Rangers debut. 3 things you need to know.
Go back to that 2008 draft. Taken in the first round by the Chicago Cubs. Played in the big leagues, of course. Padres, I think, is where most people know him from. Spent some time with the Marlins as well last year. And it's been 9 years since we have had a native-born Texan to make a start for the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, Jason Jennings, the last. And it's meaningful for Cashner, for, of course, a lot of guys. The pride of Texas to start for the Rangers. That one is in there for a strike to Haniger.
Without a doubt, I think it's probably better to generally for guys. Sometimes it works out, but maybe you start your career somewhere else, and then when you get a little bit more established and in your control, to be able to come home and pitch for your hometown team in your home state, a little bit easier to handle as an experienced player as opposed to a young player, a rookie trying to get comfortable in your home city. So many distractions as it is, and then to try to do it around your friends and family can make it a little bit more difficult. So the idea to come around a little bit later here for Andrew Cashner, probably a good idea.
Showing a little frustration after that last miss. The 1-1. That's strike 2. Well, still looking for that first strikeout tonight. Haniger grounded out in the first inning, 0 for 1. A tough guy to hold down these days. Zunino at second base. The 1-2. Got him looking. Strike 3 called. Haniger heads back to the dugout, inning over. So the Mariners get a 1-out double, but they leave him in scoring position as Cashner records his first strikeout as a Texas Ranger.
Fireworks here as we get ready to start the top of the 4th inning. And fans, the next post-game fireworks show is on Friday, April 21st, and it's brought to you by Sherwin Williams. Head out to the ballpark as your Rangers face the Kansas City Royals. Stay after the game for a fireworks show. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS.
Sherman.
I really doubted myself when I read that. I looked at it. I was like, wait a minute. It's Sherwin.
Yeah.
Who is this Sherman Williams you're talking about? I don't know him.
I think they got the wrong guy.
Really start proofreading those.
Scoreless game. Gomez, a real nice at bat back in the 1st inning. Drew a walk on 7 pitches, and now works himself ahead here, 2-1. Carlos getting on base at a 283 clip coming in. And that's a number that's going to have to go up a little bit.
Sure.
I like what he does in that leadoff spot, and when he's going, boy, I mean, he can impact a game in a hurry. But lately has cooled off a tad. He's off that one. Just a little bit high, and it's a full count.
And the thing about Carlos is there's been some good years in there where that on-base percentage has been into the mid 300s. Now he hasn't done it lately, but like you said, a little bit better than where he is so far to start this season at 283. A year ago, it was a combined 298, but while with the Rangers in those 33 games, a 362 on-base percentage. That was certainly nice to see. Now, I also don't think it's fair to expect that. It's a much bigger number than he has put up over the course of his career. 312 the career on-base percentage. So 325 would be nice, but again, still above average from what he has done since he first broke in 2007.
Payoff pitch, and he foul tips that one into Zunino's glove for the strikeout. Now it's time for our Coors Banquet Timeless Moment. Rangers going back a ways, tied an American League mark shared by 15 teams. They turned 6 double plays in a 9-inning game, including at the time a record 5 by Elvis Andrus. It was in a 5-3 win at Yankee Stadium. Since then, Didi Gregorius of the Diamondbacks turned 6 against the Rays. I guess that was 4 years ago for Gregorius. A curveball in there for a strike to Andrus.
More head shaking there from Elvis as he looks at the breaking ball, and that really good one that James Paxton has been featuring tonight.
Shoots this one out to right field. Haniger backpedaling underneath it. Andrus has already turned a double play in tonight's game.
It's good to see some contact. It was 4 strikeouts in a row from James Paxton. So even though it wasn't necessarily a positive result, at least some contact here for the Rangers.
Pretty good differential right there, 20 miles per hour.
Absolutely. Topping out at 98. We talked about the 100-mile-an-hour fastballs that we have seen. Second most among starters. 20 miles an hour. Yeah, if you can live in that differential. Tough to have.
Here's Mazzara. Omar grounded out in the first. 0 for 1. Got off to a ridiculous start. He was the American League Player of the Week announced earlier this week on Monday. Things have cooled off a little bit since. Last 6 games, in fact, Nomar 5 for 25. Still, though, consistently getting on base. Hits this ball sharply up the middle. Good backhand stop, Motter. And it completes a 1-2-3 inning once again for James Paxton. Pitching ruling the day here in Seattle. about this? In Los Angeles, Jackie Robinson statue unveiling. I love it.
That's awesome.
That, you know what? What a great idea to get him in that slide pose. Rachel at Dodger Stadium today. A lot of family members, in fact, representing Jackie today in Los Angeles.
Hard to believe, first statue at Dodger Stadium. I read that today.
Is that right?
Yeah. That's an awesome one. If you're going to do the first one, go big. That's a great one.
Pick the right guy, number 42. Number retired across Major League Baseball 20 years ago. Made his debut 70 years ago. Ebbets Field, Brooklyn Dodger. MVP in 1949 in the World Series, and 55 of the Dodgers as Cano bounces one to second base, and Rougned Odor is there, one away. Bring up Nelly Cruz. Well, breaking the color barrier, 1947. I've said it tonight already, but when you think about what that moment meant in Major League Baseball, to me, easily and obviously the proudest moment in Major League Baseball history. A great career, Hall of Fame. Of course, didn't get to the big leagues until age 28, so he had a truncated career, but the numbers were still ridiculous. Not just the first to integrate, but the first to accomplish so many feats. And of course, now the Rookie of the Year award. It is the Jackie Robinson Rookie of the Year.
And you saw the 6 World Series appearances and the 1 win, of course. 1955 was such a big year for the Dodgers, and Jackie played a big part in that as well. But yeah, you mentioned a huge moment in baseball, which it was. It's a bigger moment in history, and a really important one for even those that maybe were not baseball fans, and giving hope and certainly seeing much needed change in our country's history.
3-1 to Nelson Cruz. Not to do it at the time and under the circumstances. It's hard for us, those of us who weren't even alive at the time, to really, I think, have any good sense for what it was like then. But what he went through, just staggering to believe, as Cruz draws the walk here in the 4th inning.
You're absolutely right. It is nearly impossible for most of us to wrap our brains around what that time was like. And I've told you this, the movie 42, I got the chance to play a small role in it, and being part of the filming, I didn't even think about this going in. It actually gave me a much greater appreciation. It's a drama, right? And so they're going to play everything up. But to sit there and be a part of some scenes and listen to the language that they were using and trying to make it as realistic as possible, like it was in 1947. We shot a scene. Played a pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, where Ben Chapman was the manager of the Phillies at the time. Hardcore racist, dead set against Jackie Robinson coming to the big leagues, and these were all true things. Standing on the top step, some of the things that he was saying. We did this for 8 hours. You just sat there, and the worst language you could possibly think of, and just laying into him and shooting it over and over and over again. And one of the makeup ladies had come. It was really hot. We were shooting in Chattanooga, but it's supposed to be Brooklyn in April, right? So it's supposed to look like you're cold. I'm sweating all over the place. And she looks at me. She was standing next to me. She goes, I can't wait for this day to be over. I mean, listen, it's a movie. It's nothing like real life was, but it was an awful experience, and it did. You step back for a second. You're like, you can read books all day long and watch movies, but that was a little strange and a little bit eye-opening. Kind of listening to the language again, even though it's only a movie. It just changed it a little bit for me.
1 out here. The count 0-2 on Seager. I remember you telling me that story several years ago, and it was kind of an eye-opener to hear you recount that, because the 8 hours it took to film that scene too, and you had to go through it over and over and over again. Bouncer second base. Odor with a flip to Andrus on to first. Double play. And the inning is over. That's his 2nd twin killing tonight for Andrew Cashner. We'll go to the 5th tonight. No score. Fox Sports Southwest wants you to show your school spirit at a Texas Rangers game. Get discounted tickets for select games throughout the season, and fans will also get a free Rangers cap in school-specific colors. Go to TexasRangers.com/UDays for details. See that one there, TCU, July 5th. Red Sox will be in town for that one. Well, maybe Cashner.
No.
Horn Frog. Maybe he'll get himself one of those hats.
I think the Rangers will probably hook him up.
Napoli leading off the 5th inning against James Paxton, who's been very good.
Another big double play there for the Rangers. You mentioned the second of the night. We've talked about it. Leading the league last year in the most ground ball double plays induced. They came in tonight tied for 5th already with 12. Make it 14 now. And the Seattle Mariners were second. The 14 double plays turn. They have one tonight as well. So the Rangers really picking up right where they left off a year ago.
Paxton, meanwhile, has faced the minimum. Rangers without a hit so far, and this one fouled back just underneath us. Count stays 0-2.
I mentioned how this would be a fun battle to watch between James Paxton and Mike Napoli. Part of that is that Mike Napoli has a 100-point higher OPS against left-handed pitchers. Not a surprise for a right-handed power hitter. So you know, again, he gets excited. The velocity does not intimidate him at all. So you start thinking about 96, 97, and if he can get to it, Mike Napoli's eyes get big. He gets excited.
He takes that breaking ball in the dirt. 1-2 the count. Paxton already with 5 strikeouts tonight. And this ball lifted high in the air. Short right field. Haniger. And there's one away.
The Rangers take on the Kansas City Royals on Saturday, April 22nd at 7:05 p.m. Fire up the grill because the first 15,000 fans 14 and older will be treated to a Rangers barbecue die-cut spatula courtesy of Lynx. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Boom. Nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it. You got that one. Cannot wait to see you put that to use when we get to Atlanta later this summer.
Yeah, you keep talking about that.
Well, I've got the invitations out.
Yep.
People will be lining up. Odor 0 for 1, flied out in the second inning. Hey, you were telling the story of filming the movie 42, in which you appeared as a pitcher. Dutch Leonard, right?
That's correct. And it was funny. What a cool experience. I was just hired to be an extra originally, and then they asked me to read for a role, and I had one line. And it was pretty cool, you know. Never been on a movie set before, never been a part of it. But what was really neat for me was that they shot it in Chattanooga, Tennessee, at Old Ingle Stadium, which is where I started my career when I got drafted. The Reds, Jim Bowden, the GM, sent me right to AA, and so I started my career with the Chattanooga Lookouts, and I hadn't been back to that stadium since 1995. So it was really kind of neat to go back there in 2012. It had fallen into ruins. It was a mess, and they paid a ton of money to clean it up, and they built what I was told was the second biggest green screen ever made in the outfield. Right? You watch the movie, and it's Ebbets Field. There's nothing in that outfield in Chattanooga at Old Historic Ingle Stadium, and so they had this humongous green screen.
Odor lifts this one high in the air to center, and eventually it'll come down. And Martinez there, 2 away.
I remember asking. I almost said fellow actor and made a real fool of myself. I asked one of the actors because it seemed like you're filming forever, and I was there for. They told me I was going to be there for 1 day.
Yeah.
I was there for 13 days, right? And so I'm like, man, I said, how much am I going to be in this thing? He goes, you're going to be in it for like 30 seconds, if that. You know, I was like, well, what am I doing here so long? But I actually ended up being in it probably 4 or 5 minutes. I had 3 at-bats against Jackie. It was cool, man. Got to face him, tried to pick him off, knocked him down a couple of times.
Now, you were a first-round draft pick by the Reds, and then they sent you down there to Chattanooga, left-handed pitcher. But when you came back then all these years later, you came back as a right-handed pitcher then as Dutch Leonard, correct?
It's one of those confusing movie secrets.
Bouncer to Cano. Yeah, movie secret indeed. A 1-2-3 inning for Paxton. A no-hitter through 5 for him.
Tonight here in Seattle as we watch these pitchers absolutely dominate. First, James Paxton, the big fastball, good location of that fastball. Handful of strikeouts for him, but also on the other side, a really nice debut so far here for Andrew Cashner. As you see him getting in on the hands and getting that double play. Another ground ball right there. Good location, good run on the fastball. It's been a well-pitched game. Of course, we do want to see the Rangers break through, get a hit on the board. Would be nice, but so far, very smooth, well-played game through 4.5 innings.
Oh, yeah, great pitching as we saw yesterday on our Ford game summary tonight. And Taylor Motter, rather.
Oh,
1-1.
Yeah, exactly. Was that Sherman?
2-1 to count. Motter, one of 4 base runners so far tonight against Cashner. A couple of doubles, a couple of walks. Motter had one of the walks. Just outside, 3-1. Well, he's managed to get some double plays tonight. That has made a big difference for big Andrew Cashner, 6'5". The righty's pitch in there. It's a full count.
How about that? It's a really nice pitch. So that's at 90 miles an hour, a little bit off of what we've seen from some of Andrew Cashner's fastballs. That is a sign of a veteran. 3-1 count. It's a fastball count. Motter's looking for something, takes a little bit off, and has the really good run, and he comes right back and does it.
Yeah, Cashner gets him looking. Second strikeout tonight for the Rangers right-hander.
I mean, this is splitting the plate with a two-seamer, starting it on the outside part, bringing it back, maybe catching more of the outer third, but you can see that two-seam rotation on that ball, and we haven't seen anything or too many things very straight from Andrew Cashner tonight.
Danny Valencia rolled into the double play in the second inning. That was one of the very big plays in tonight's game because it was first and third, 1 out at the time. Cashner gets him to hit this one out to right field. Mazzara angling out toward the corner and can't get it. Valencia heading around second. He'll go to third. The throw, not in time. And a triple for Danny Valencia.
This is a tough break here for Nomar Mazzara. This really is not his fault. This ball started dying as you see Danny Valencia poke it down the right field line. But watch where the ball hits. Just not quite on the lip of the grass, but pretty close. But it kicked right. I don't think Nomar could have anticipated the way that ball spun, the way that it kicked into the corner. And because of that, most likely what should have been a double turns into a triple.
And Valencia closing in on 2,300 big league at bats. That was his 9th triple. Conversation out of the mound now for Cashner.
Yeah, I want to figure this out, right? You see how this game is going, and you see how well James Paxton has pitched. That's why we saw infield in as early as we did. What was that, back in the second inning after a leadoff double, and then ultimately when Nelson Cruz had gotten a third, and the Rangers are going to do it again here with 1 out. Leonis Martin at bat.
Martin 0 for 1, flied out in the third inning. It's been a struggle. 3 for 37 for Martin, and he has been a strikeout victim 12 times coming into tonight. Cashner with 2 strikeouts so far this evening. And a broken bat bouncer first base. Rua, nicely done. And he will play cat and mouse both with Valencia at third and Martin down the line, but he gets it done.
How about that balancing act by Ryan Rua as he sees about 3/4 of the bat still coming his way. Look at this thing. I mean, this is right over his head. That's great concentration. He didn't panic. Good job by Ruben Odor to get over there. That is some scary stuff. You see that bat flying by, and then, like you said, some goofing around here, but good job by Ryan Rua to not lose focus. And he sees that bat helicoptering toward him.
Boy, what a big out. And now Zunino takes strike one. You keep Valencia at third. 2 outs in the inning.
Andrew Cashner, by the way, I haven't kept track of this, but he is blowing up some bats tonight as well.
His velo has been very good tonight. And you talk about a guy who's a line drive short. Andrews hauls it in, and the inning is over. Mariners leave another man at third base. Wow. What a good one we've got going tonight. We head to the 6th inning in beautiful Seattle, Washington. Sonic Slam inning brought to you by Sonic Drive-In. Today's jackpot worth $1,100 plus dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Rangers are hitting for Lydia Manning of Houston tonight. Texas Ranger hits a home run in this 6th inning. Well, Lydia will win $1,100. But if a Ranger hits a grand slam, she'll leave with $25,000.
I mean, if anybody deserves it, Lydia in enemy territory in Houston.
High pop up into left field by Ryan Rua, and Dyson is there. 1 gone. All right, time to check it again with John Radigan on a Chevy game break. All right, thanks, John. Here's Gallo. He takes ball 1. Gallo at 219, struck out looking in the 3rd. One of 5 Rangers strikeout victims tonight for Paxton. Gallo with a couple of home runs, 9 RBIs in the first 10 games of the year. He's ahead here 2-1. It was after the 2nd game in LA earlier this week. And Jeff Bannister took him aside and said, hey, look, you know, this could be a longer stretch for you at third base than we had originally anticipated. 2-2 the count now. And so take advantage of it.
I think he has. The early returns have been good. It's certainly, it's an awkward situation. You're not hoping for him. He's not hoping that Adrian Beltre is hurt or anything like that, but you get your opportunity. That's out of your control. There's nothing you can do about that, but you take advantage whenever these situations pop up. You don't know what it's going to lead to, right? You get off to a really good start offensively. Maybe they find another place to put him. Look at this.
Now rips one into right field. That's a base hit and more. He'll head to second, and he's in there with a double. And Joey Gallo with another extra base hit. He breaks up the no-hitter, and the Rangers have their first man in scoring position tonight.
Now, how many times have we seen this where a lefty pulls the ball through the shift, but I mean, there's hardly any room between the second and first baseman. That's at least the 2nd time that we've seen. We saw Joey Gallo do it. We saw Nomar do it. Not a lot of room. This ball was smoked, but great job here by Joey Gallo. And like you said, look how much room is there. I will say this: he beat up on Robinson Cano, but he was a little flat-footed as that ball was delivered. He wasn't going to get to it anyway, but if it was a close play and misses that by a step or two, that probably would have been the reason.
Now to Shields, and he fouls off strike one.
Step one for the Rangers. Get that first hit. Get another base runner on board. First guy to get into scoring position now. Gotta find a way to get this run across.
Man, that ball was rifled through there at 112 miles per hour. He smoked it. Paxton, this one tapped foul. He's ahead of DeShields 0-2. So there you go. Rangers first man in scoring position tonight. They've had one other base runner, Gomez, who walked to open the game but was ultimately doubled up. James Paxton, who has been outstanding in his first two starts for the Mariners. He's been every bit as good here tonight, and his two-strike pitch bounces up there. Gallo taking off for third, and they got him. You can see he wants Jeff Bannister to take a look at the replay first.
Hopefully Joey Gallo got his hand in here. A lot of times you're going to say in these situations, you don't go unless you know that you can make it. You appreciate the aggressiveness and the read. He may have an argument. We'll see whether or not that glove got the left elbow before Joey Gallo hit the bag. I tell you what, first shot that we got of it certainly seems like something worth taking a look at. And Jeff Bannister says, yes, let's take a closer look.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a couple of different angles on this one, but I'm with you on that first one there. You might have enough with that angle alone to overturn it. Now it's got to be really clear, and that one was close.
It was. We'll see what happens with whatever angles we get, and certainly what they get back in New York. What matters, you know what instant replay is done. Take a look at this first of all. We'll see whether or not. Watch the left elbow. That's where the tag comes down. Was there contact right here? Hard to tell from there. It doesn't look like it. And then by the time he actually gets the back of his tricep elbow area, it does appear that Joey Gallo's hand got in there. This should tell us everything we need to know. What a super slow, what a great shot. My goodness. Let's see here. Watch that left hand. No contact. More. It's contact there. Ooh. Man. The problem is you can't tell whether or not he got to the bag right there. So that could be an issue here for the Rangers. But here's the thing. For me, what replay has done in these situations is, a lot of times it's like, well, the ball beat him, he's out, right? Before we had instant replay, and maybe we would see it on TV, but the call, we didn't have instant replay, so the calls always stood. And you're like, well, the ball beat him, and that's what's going to happen. A lot of times the ball beats you, you're going to get called out, even if you found a way to get your hand in there. Well, instant replay has done a good job of eliminating that. Now, I don't think we've seen enough. It is really close. It was just so tough to tell in that super slow-mo whether the hand got there first or not.
Well, you got very good views. You get some pretty good angles there.
They're showing it on the big board. It's so tough to tell. They're going back and
tight.
forth. Let's see here. Watch that. Oh, I tell you what. So we watched it again. It was just on the big board. As the hand goes, it's just hard to tell whether or not he's actually touching the bag. Without a doubt, the tag did not hit him initially. Did not hit the arm initially. But maybe when third base umpire Manny Gonzalez first saw. But man, he's right on top of it. He was right on top of that play. But there may not be enough evidence. Let's see right here. Watch his fingers. Did they get down in time? They go down, but are they touching the bag? You just don't know right there if they're touching the bag. I tell you what. Let's see here. This is a new one here.
It looks like when
that
the fingers are down.
Oh my goodness, that is close. I tell you what, too. There have been replays. That there was one in, I believe it was I can't remember if it was the Cleveland game yesterday, but we see ones that are like, oh yeah, that's going to get turned over, and then doesn't. So there's been some surprises here, and I think it always comes down to that call on the field. It's got to be clear, has to be concise.
Well, look to me like when the hand started angling down, that when it stopped moving, his fingertip was on the bag. And so if you look at the other angle where he's sliding into the camera and you see the hand heading down, that at that point he's safe. Well, we'll see.
Wow.
He is safe. Yeah.
That's a nice job. I tell you what, that's not an easy call for them to make. And they're not going to make the call unless they're confident, right? They're not going to overturn it unless they are confident in New York. So give those guys some credit, because that one took some work. That was not easy.
Wow.
And Scott Service would love to go out and argue, but you cannot. Once that call is made on instant replay, you try to argue that, and it's an instant ejection.
So Gallo at third base on the wild pitch.
Great instincts, great read. He got aggressive. Seriously, I mean, listen, if he's out, this is the way it goes. You say it wasn't. It was a great read.
Infield in now. And that one was tight. 2-2. You know, the other thing that replay does is it slowed Paxton down now. That's the first time that he has had to pause for any length of time out there.
Ice the kicker.
There you go. I mean, he has been getting it and chunking it.
He started throwing a little bit in between, right? Because probably feeling it, and sometimes started to pass. I'll tell you this too. It is so important. People don't realize, I think, a lot of times how important the secondary lead is. Right after the pitch is thrown, a couple of hops, and you watch the ball. You don't get a strong secondary lead. When Joey Gallo gets one that's just a little bit worse, he's out.
Swing and a miss. The Shields down on strikes. They'll throw him out at first. 2 away. That's that little 2-3 put out at the end of the strikeout. Gallo stays at third. And now it's going to be up to Carlos Gomez. Well, it looks like a night where the opportunities are going to be few. They have been for both sides, but more so for the Rangers. The big lefty Paxton has been solid tonight. Gomez tries to ambush him there. Strike one.
He looked really late on that fastball. 96 miles an hour. Again, elevated fastball from James Paxton.
Corners are tight, and he bunts it in the air, but to third, and Seager is there, and the inning is over. The Rangers got a man 90 feet away, but can't get him in. Played 5.5.
And now it's time for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile, and some things going around Major League Baseball today. Chris Bryant with a big home run off the video board at Wrigley. Changes Morales, an important home run in walk-off style.
Well, Tapper back to the mound. Cashner able to take care of Gerard Dyson. Sorry,
I guess Gerard Dyson was not interested in what happened around the game today, because there was some good stuff. But the Kendrys Morales walk-off home run, a big one, because the Blue Jays had started their season 1-9, and people calling for heads already. How about Carlos Martinez? This is an unbelievable line. 5 1/3 innings, 8 walks, 11 strikeouts. we have never seen in our game's history, going back to 1893, as far as we can go back and look, where a starting pitcher has gone less than 6 innings, punched out at least 11, and walked at least 8. We've had a couple of 10s and 8s, but never an 11 and 8. So a little bit of strange history happening
today.
That
was pretty crazy. He had 6 strikeouts and 6 walks in the first 2 innings.
Stay hot.
Bobby Witt, notably, one of the guys we were referencing there, pitches low. It's 2-0 to Haniger. Bobby Witt in his second big league start, 1986 at Milwaukee for the Rangers. Went 5 innings, walked 8, struck out 10. By the way, no hits. 5 no-hit innings. Bounces short, and that one goes off the heel of Andrus' glove into left field. Haniger is aboard.
And the crazy thing, I think, to go along with that as well, the final score of the game was 3-2. With all those walks for Carlos Martinez against the New York Yankees, you'll see this ball hit pretty hard. So being out over the plate, Elvis Andrus would have to make a pretty great play. Goes down as a base hit. He tries to slide and back pick it. Can't catch it clean. It's a base hit.
So Haniger aboard. Scoreless game. Bottom of the 6th inning, and the heart of the order coming here for the Mariners. Robinson Cano twice is grounded out. Once to short, once to second. Mariners have been running in this early part of the 2017 season. 10 stolen bases in 11 attempts. Very aggressive out there and very successful. Haniger 2 for 2 so far as he takes his lead at first. We saw this last night. Rangers threw over to first base quite a bit. And they're not gonna let these guys get that little extra half step.
No, absolutely not. And for Andrew Cashner, who's done a really nice job against Robinson Cano tonight, so far with the 2 ground balls, certainly would like a 3rd one right here.
Bouncer up the middle. Andrus with trouble. Back flip to second, and it goes over Odor. A chance at that big double play, but couldn't quite get it. For that matter, couldn't get one.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part. His ball was hit hard, and Elvis Andrus, it catches him on the short hop, but then he tries to backflip it. He knows he doesn't have a lot of time, but he ends up throwing this too high. Rougned Odor tries to catch it with his bare hand. That's a situation where you'd like to see at least 1 out. Didn't happen. Andrew Cashner's got a little bit of work to do with 1st and 2nd.
An error on Andrus. And so 2 men on. Brocail out there to talk things over.
Now, did they specify, was that an error on the throw or an error on the ball, on the ground ball?
Well, I don't know if it was on the flip. Yeah, I trust it was on the flip, but
yep. I would assume so, yes. Yeah, because I guess if he makes that, even though it's, that's kind of asking a guy to make a spectacular play, right? As you're doing that little shovel flip, and certainly not a standard play. But Cashner got the ground ball, was hit hard, didn't work out, but he's been keeping the ball on the ground a lot today. See if we can do it here with Nelson Cruz, as you see double barrels down in that Ranger bullpen. Rothschild and Claudio, the lefty. See all those people standing right there?
Yeah.
I love coming here always as a visiting player. But they are right next to you when you're warming up. And they are free to say whatever they like, and they take advantage of those opportunities, especially a little bit later in the game. A couple of drinks in. It looks like we got some polite folks down there tonight so far, but it's very interesting to have the fans that close to you while you're warming up.
This one off the plate, 2-0 to Nelson Cruz. Well, normally they could take their program and they could look at your name, and it's, maybe even do a little quick Google search or something and have a couple of specific comments for you. Tougher tonight with everybody wearing number 42.
Yep, that's a good point.
Visiting bullpen, they probably don't know the guys on site quite the same way.
I remember in the early years there was a chain link fence there. They've opened that up a little bit, so they couldn't throw things at you. Not that I'm suggesting that you do that, but it does seem like that's available now.
Big spot here for Andrew Cashner. 3-0 to Cruz. Haniger at second, Cano at first. comes. This one fouled away. All right, our TXU Energy power player to watch, not a shocker. Nelson Cruz, only player in the big leagues in the last 3 seasons with 40-plus home runs in each of them. About 128 home runs.
It's kind of surprising, right? When you think about where we are right now with the long ball and home runs are up, it seems like it's just more spread out as opposed to seeing the real huge monster seasons.
Well, a walk, so they're loaded up.
Second time that Andrew Cashner has walked Nelson Cruz, so just not wanting a piece of him after he had that double back in the 2nd inning.
Well, he gets Kyle Seager now, and he did get Seager to roll into a double play in the 4th inning. I think we made mention of this yesterday. Bears repeating today. Mariners, as a group, they've had a little bit of trouble getting into double plays. Got a couple yesterday in some big spots. A couple tonight in big spots. And Cashner pins one on the corner for a strike to Seager.
Good changeup there, 85 miles an hour on the corner, and this is what Andrew Cashner is going to try to do early in this count. Run the ball down and away, keep it moving. Try to get Kyle Seager to hit him that ground ball.
One strike pitch. And it's outside. Now 3 grand slams for Seager. And we talked about the power that Nelson Cruz's bat. So he stands at first after the walk. Seager's been very productive. Talk about infielders in Mariners history. He's 126 career home runs, up there among the greatest all time here. 2-1 the count.
Some elevation there that Kyle Seager was not expecting. Leaning out over the plate after seeing the back-to-back changeups from Andrew Cashner. He's got him set up for the 2-seam fastball if he wants to go down and away. If he can get his good one, he should be able to get that ground ball.
2-1. Just a good low. That big crowds here this weekend. And as vocal perhaps as they have been yet in this moment. Haniger, Cano, and Cruz. 3rd to 1st. The 3-1. And it's a full count.
This will be interesting to see. Andrew Cashner has shown Kyle Seager 3 changeups in this at-bat. That's a pitch he is comfortable with. Against the lefty, that is exactly what he and Jonathan Lucroy are talking about right now. Do you want to go fastball, down and away? Do you want to go changeup, down and away? Do you feel comfortable running a 4-seamer up and in and going for the strikeout? Obviously, there's nowhere to put him, so it has to be a strike. So this comes down to the pitch you have the most confidence in throwing for a strike effectively. That's the conversation that's taking place, and Jonathan Lucroy wants to hear it from Andrew Cashner before they decide what they want to do.
1 out in the inning. Started with Haniger's base hit. An error opened the door. Now the 3-2. Ground ball. That one through. Base hit. Haniger home. Cano headed to the plate. Throws up the line, and it's 2-0 Seattle.
Well, good at bat here from Kyle Seager. You got to tip your cap to what he did there. But let's take a look at what Andrew Cashner did. He comes in, goes changeup, called strike 1, comes back with another changeup, finishes down below the zone. Then he goes fastball up and in for a ball. Another changeup down low. The 93-mile-an-hour fastball fouled off, and they decided, yes, let's go changeup. And it wasn't a terrible one, just a little bit over the plate. It was down. And after Kyle Seager had already seen 4 changeups, or 3 prior to that one, he was able to stay back and hit that one hard enough, get the ball into the outfield for 2 RBIs.
And that will do it for Andrew Cashner. A pretty impressive debut tonight. Mike Hauschild coming in out of the pen. breaking through moments ago. Mike Housechild on to pitch. All right, our AT&T pitching matchup tomorrow. Cole Hamels, Hisashi Iwakuma. Now, both guys have pitched real well so far this season, though neither with a win to show for it at this point.
Yeah, Iwakuma has been good. The bullpen, we talked about it last night here in Seattle, off to a slow start. That should be a good one. Lefty and righty getting after it tomorrow.
Andrew Kashner and the other members of the rotation talking things over. Jeff Bannister over there to check in as well. Overall, pretty good effort tonight.
Without a doubt, he threw the ball well. Got those ground balls when he needed them. Looked really smooth. I think that was the important part. Pitches looked really sharp. Confident throwing off-speed pitches behind the count. Pretty much everything you wanted to see from Andrew Kashner in his first outing.
Now Housechild, and he pumps in a strike to Modern. Third appearance for Housechild. He's a guy who will go after hitters. Throws a lot of strikes. Inherits a couple of base runners. This ball hit well, go to left field, and it's going to carry out of here. 3-run shot for Motter, and just like that, it's 5-0 Seattle. Second of the year for Motter.
Yeah, and unfortunately at a bad time here for the Texas Rangers. This was a slider that ended up staying up over the plate. Jonathan Lucroy wanted it down and away, but it got a little flat. 83 miles an hour down the middle. Good pitch to hit for Motter.
It's one of the drawbacks of being, real aggressive and a guy who does throw a lot of strikes. Strike one to Valencia. If you're in the zone too much,
sure,
you'll be trouble.
And that's even though Mike Housechild hasn't pitched very much in the big leagues, information travels faster than ever. And so these hitters are told this guy will be in the zone. Stay ready. And get a little bit more comfortable knowing that you're going to see some strikes and there's going to be some opportunities to take some big swings.
It's a swing and a miss from Valencia. Strikeout for the second out of the inning. With the damage done here in this sixth, Kyle Seager, a 2-run single to right. Housechild on in relief. Gives up the 3-run bomb to Motter. Housechild in his last appearance Thursday in Los Angeles, giving up the 3-run homer to Danny Espinosa. Spoiled what was a shutout up into that moment as Leonys Martin 0 for 2. And he shoots this one over third, slicing down the line, but that is a fair ball into the corner. Martin has good speed, and that is an easy 2-out double. So, tough stretch. All of a sudden, this Mariners team, a Mariners team that had trouble scoring runs the first week and change of the season, and they've opened up for 5 runs already this inning. Martin out there in scoring position, and Housechild will step off.
And while they have swung the bats well this inning, you can also look at a couple of plays, a couple of things that happened where the Rangers could have been out of this. There was that potential double play. Nelson Cruz hit that ball hard. It would have been a tough turn, but certainly one I think Elvis Andrus would tell you he felt like he could have turned and started. Didn't happen. Then there's the walk. I'm sorry, that arrow was a Robinson Cano ball that was hit. And then there was the walk to Nelson Cruz. So a couple of opportunities that got away, and then the floodgates started to open up a little bit. Really good at bat from Kyle Seager. Nothing you can do about that.
1-1 to Zunino. Cashner's day is done. Ends up allowing 4 runs because 2 had scored on that Mater homer. Charged to his line. And it's now 2 balls and a strike on Zunino, the 9th hitter of the inning. Housechild on in relief, and it is a bit of a short bullpen tonight for Jeff Bannister. We saw Jose Leclerc go long again yesterday, and Banny said today he is not available. 2-2 the count on Zunino. Matt Bush may be available. All things considered, would like to avoid using him.
Same can be said for Jeremy Jeffress.
Yep.
So now you're looking at Sam Dyson, Tony Barnett, and Housechild. These are really the only 2 lefties that you'd like to use.
They appeal that check swing. He did not go. So Housechild may have to go a little bit longer here tonight, taking over in this 6th inning. Jeff Bannister may ask multiple innings from Housechild. 5-0 game. Then the next question then is how far can Paxton go for Seattle? He's kept the pitch count in check and has faced just 1 over the minimum through his first 6 innings.
Curious here to see what Mike Housechild wanted to go to. He shook Jonathan Lucroy off in the full count, so he's got a plan. Let's see if he can execute.
Gets him looking. And that strikeout ends the inning. A couple of strikeouts for Housechild. Not happy as he heads off the field. 5-0 Seattle. We go to the 7th inning. Rangers fans, download the Fox Sports Go app and take Rangers baseball with you wherever you go. If you can't watch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the Fox Sports Go app presented by Hyundai. Okay, now all of a sudden time running short on the Rangers. They have spotted the Mariners a 5-run lead. It'll be the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the 7th against James Paxton, who starts Andrus off the plate with ball 1.
Let's take a look at what James Paxton has done tonight. His 85 pitches to start this inning. Lots of fastballs, 59, and the curveball like we talked about. Kind of what we were anticipating from him. Percentage-wise, a little bit higher, almost 70% fastballs. A curveball at 16. We mentioned he usually uses that around 25%. So a little bit more with the fastball today. He's also brought the slider in the mix a little bit more than he usually does at 13% tonight.
Gets ahead of Andrus here, a ball and 2 strikes. And he's not messing around. I mean, he gets it, he wants to go. And Andrus pops it up. Back of second base, Robinson Cano is there.
We mentioned that note, right, as far as better than 6 innings with no runs scored, to do it 3 times in a row to start the season. He's there. Let's hope it doesn't happen. The Rangers get some runs on the board off of James Paxton, but as of now, he has done it. And it's only happened 10 times in Major League history.
Nomar Mazara, next man to deal with him here. Nomar is 0 for 2.
And I know you'd be blown away by this. 2 of the 9 times that it's happened so far.
Yeah.
Happened in 1907. Twice. It was a big year for not scoring runs to start the season. Biggest name on there, Louis Tiant.
Yep. Back with the Indians in the mid-60s. This one fouled off, and the count 1-1 on Mazara. Well, the Rangers have had 1 hit. That was Joey Gallo in the 6th inning. Paxton has been in control tonight, and the 1-1 pitch rolled slowly second base. Cano charges, 2 out. It looks really similar inning by inning. In that 3rd inning, when he used 19 pitches, he struck out the side in order.
Yeah, it really is amazing to see. He's having a really strong night, not wasting a lot of pitches. You're very happy when you see all those 12s and 13s. 13's a great number. If you were to try to average that per 9, that'd be a pretty big number, or per inning, I should say. 14, 15, 16. You can get deep in the game, and that's what we're seeing here tonight from James Paxton.
Still well shy of 100 as he works in the 7th inning of a swing and a miss. Makes it 1-1. Napoli struck out in the 2nd. Flat out to right in the 5th. An impressive night for the 28-year-old left-hander. It's 2-1.
He's gone at least 100 pitches in his first 2 outings. It was 104 in those 7 innings. His last start against the Astros, that first start in 6 innings, he threw 100 pitches in 6 innings.
Napoli fouls it off. It's 2-2. Well, a 4th-round pick in 2010 by the Mariners. Native of Ladner, British Columbia. Went to school at the University of Kentucky. Long been a very highly thought of prospect. And a breaking ball swung on, and that one lifted high in the air left field. Dyson is on, and it's another 1-2-3 inning for James Paxton. What a night that young man is having. My oh my.
Now Adrian Beltre in the dugout as his team trails 5-0 as we head to the bottom of the 7th here at Safeco. And speaking of Adrian, here is that much anticipated, perhaps the most anticipated bobblehead in quite some time, the Dancing Legs bobble, which will be on display and on giveaway on April 29th. The first 15,000 fans through the gates at Globe Life Park will get one of these babies. I pulled it out in the clubhouse today and just kind of set it out, and the guys were having a lot of fun with it. Some threatened to put some, tape on the back of that right calf, just poking fun at Adrian. So Adrian seems to be okay with it. Thinks they did a pretty good job. Maybe a little round in the face, but overall pretty good. April 29th, go to TexasRangers.com to get your tickets for Adrian Beltre Bobble Night, guys.
Well, the reality of the situation is, Dave, we all get a little round in the face as we get a little bit older. I'm not saying that Adrian is round in the face, but it is a really cool bobblehead.
Yeah.
Emily's right. There'll be a lot of people wanting to get their hands on that one.
Oh, man, that'll be a huge, huge night.
Have you ever seen anything about this on these bobbleheads? Like, the face is usually not. It's pretty tough to do, like to get the get a real accurate face. I mean, they're not going to go crazy and try to make spend tons of money to bring in an artist and make sure it's exactly the guy's face. But so you can't get worked out that it looks a little round, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Right. Hey, look, if you have a distinguishing mark, maybe some facial hair, then all of a sudden you say, wow, that really looks like the guy. Otherwise, yeah, they all start looking pretty similar. All right, Gerard Dyson, he started the big 6th inning for the Mariners, in which they sent 9 hitters to the plate and scored 5 runs. That has been the entirety of this game. He is 0 for 3 so far. Now, plate umpire Phil Colbreth says 2-1, go ahead.
Be a stage manager, Dave, that county. I'm strong.
Well, they've got the big clock now that they put up for the between innings time, and we had God Bless America here, and that set everything back a little bit as Housechild comes in and gets Dyson apparently on the foot. And if there's one place where Dyson doesn't want to be hit, it's the foot.
Yeah, it looked like it caught him right on top of the right toe, and it was a slider at 81 miles an hour, so there was 0 intent. Mike Housechild just pulled that a little bit. It's just one of those ones where it feels actually worse than it looks, right? It's usually the other way around, where it looks worse than it actually is. But no, those sting a little bit, especially on a chilly night.
That one had a kind of a thump to it, a thud, a sound like it got pretty flush. Dyson will continue to try and work that one out. He is at first. Haniger coming up. Yeah, that one hurt, man. I mean, he's working through a tough one back there.
I mean, pretty close to stubbing your toe in the middle of the night. That kind of feeling, or you just?
No, I think worse. Did you hear the sound?
I heard it.
You could really,
great microphones here.
Yeah, you could really pick that up on that replay. That just sounded awful. So he is at first, and Haniger at the plate, and he is 1 for 3 tonight. He hits this one sharply to third. Gallo knocked it down, but everybody's safe. Another rocket down that third baseline. Let's pause for a Chevy game break. So we get back to John Radigan.
Submarine.
Yeah, thanks, John. I think I read somewhere too, CJ, that is the Astros' best start in better than a decade now. At 8-4, so Houston off to a very good start in the division. They've been catching some of these teams at the right time. Getting the Angels right now is certainly a good thing for anybody. We thought this might be a really good time to catch the Mariners coming here, but a 2-1 loss yesterday and in a 5-0 hole tonight. Here's Robinson Cano, ground ball up the middle. Andrews to second for 1. Return by Odor, double play. 6-4-3. Dyson gets to third base, but they're suddenly 2 away.
Well, Mike Housechild has to be happy with that. Came in last, of course, let up that home run. Facing Robinson Cano, first and second, nobody out. Righty lefty, it's impressive. You got to dig in here a little bit. Obviously, for Housechild, a rookie getting his first taste of the big leagues, going to be experiencing a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure, facing hitters at a level that he's never faced before. It's impressive to see him. I don't care what the score is and what's going on in the game, for him to come in and get that double play against Robinson Cano. It's a good at bat for him.
Nelson Cruz has been a very tough out tonight. A couple of walks, the double earlier. The double came off his bat 112 miles per hour. That was in the second inning. I mentioned there's been a couple of rockets down that third baseline to Gallo, and that was the first of them tonight. Now 1-1 on Cruz. Mariners came into the series 2 wins, 8 losses, and really struggling. Gene Segura recently to the disabled list. They squeaked one out yesterday, getting more good pitching today. 2-1 the count. And yesterday was Martin Perez against Felix Hernandez. Hernandez went 7 1/3, allowed 1 run. Martin Perez was very good. It ended up being a 2-1 game.
He battled. He did a good job. There's some walks in there, but he also made big pitches when he had to, kind of back-to-back starts that we have seen from Martin Perez in that kind of fashion.
Just outside, 3-1. Housechild falling into a big hole here against a very good hitter. Kyle Seager waiting on deck.
You don't want to give in here. Still make a competitive pitch. Doesn't work out, you start fresh with Kyle Seager.
He'll ask for time, and he and LaCroix will once again communicate, make sure they have the right pitch.
It was interesting. You mentioned the Houston Astros. Saw a note about Carlos Correa and his agent saying he had zero interest in talking about any kind of contract extension. Now that may be because they renewed him again, and he will make the league minimum. But I thought some very interesting and terse language from his agent early in his career.
Dyson off third, the 3-1 pitch. That's a strike. Well, and that's an important communication coming out of his camp, because quite clearly when people speak about the excitement around that Astros franchise, he's the foundation. The 3-2 popped up near shortstop, and Andrews right there for it. Inning over. Well, Mariners leave another man in scoring position. Rougned Odor 0 for his last 10. Can he get it started for the Rangers against James Paxton when we come back? grasshoppers being consumed in that group right there.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Off to the 8th we go. Hey, the next Texas Chili Company Dollar Hot Dog Night is going to be Wednesday, April 26th. Rangers and Twins at a Globe Life Park. So come on out, enjoy all the hot dogs that you can consume for $1 each. Go to TexasRangers.com for tickets or call 972-RANGERS.
How many of those hot dogs that you and I had today could you think you could put down?
Oh, man,
you didn't even make it through your whole hot dog, did you?
No. Well, listen, I got halfway through the turkey, halfway through the hot dog. Here's Rougned Odor. And he takes strike one, 0 for 2 tonight.
I ate my own hot dog. I was raised right. I'm not going to do it on the table. Now, at the same time, I regret that I ate that hot dog, but I did it.
0-2 to Odor.
And it wasn't that because it wasn't good. Just wasn't particularly nutritious.
No, they were pretty good dogs.
Yeah, big dogs. Definitely not hot dog eating contest dogs. They're about twice the size of your average hot dog.
And the dirt, a ball and 2 strikes on Odor. Now we're at 100 pitches for James Paxton. So it'll be interesting to see how far they want him to go tonight. He has been absolutely in control all evening. And he gets another strikeout as he races it past Odor.
You see the reaction from James Paxton after he strikes out Odor, elevates the fastball, really puts it exactly where he wants it under the hands. But watch the reaction afterwards. He is pumped up about how he feels and how he has been throwing the baseball tonight.
Pretty impressive. Lucroy 0 for 2. And they'll take one in. Rangers have bumped up against some pretty good pitching performances. Kendall Graveman the other day with Oakland. Now this one from James Paxton. 1-1 the count on Lucroy. Far tonight, Paxton has faced 1 over the minimum. Joey Gallo got him for a double in the 6th. Paxton left him out there at third base eventually. 2-1 now to Lucroy. We've had good crowds yesterday. Almost 42,000 here today. Today just a smidge shy of 35,000. It's a big weekend of baseball in Seattle. Lucroy off the handle, looped over first, drops in, base hit. The Rangers have a runner in the 8th inning.
The way that James Paxton is throwing tonight, the Texas Rangers will take base runners any way that they can get them. And talked about Jonathan Lucroy, a little bit of a slow start. He'll take that base hit. You see kind of double barrels down there. Vincent on the left, Mark Zepchinski, the lefty, on the right. Can you spell it without looking?
I don't think so.
Nope, me neither. I can do Samardzija.
That one's every bit as tough. Samardzija?
Yeah, once you get it. S-A-M-A-R-D-Z-I-G-A. Once you get it, you get it.
I'll take Rua for 200. Yeah. R-U-A. 0-2 the count. Ryan struck out in the 3rd inning. Flied out in the 6th. Well, the key here would be if the Rangers could scratch a run or 2 across in this 8th inning. Just get it back to being a little bit more of a game. Get Paxton out. It's 1-2 because one of the big stories surrounding the Mariners in these first 2 weeks of the season has been the cratering of their bullpen. They have just been a disaster. Scott Service looking on. Second-year manager here in Seattle, very happy with the way things have gone. Rua whips this one down the left field line, and that one is foul. Wow.
Really? I thought he got it.
I did too. Manny Gonzalez down that third baseline, though. He had the look.
He's been busy tonight, too, by the way. Manny Gonzalez behind the plate last night. Let's see here. Ryan Rua. Yeah, he hooked this ball a little bit, and probably, yep, there it goes. Some spin there. And that ball was definitely foul. Looked a little bit more than I realized off the bat.
So Lucroy still at first. And the 1-2. And swing. Another strikeout for James Paxton. So we take a look at our progressive next 5 games. And tomorrow wrap up this series. Afternoon tilt here in Seattle. Then it's off to Oakland. 3 against the battling A's early next week. And then at long last, the Rangers head back home on Thursday night, back at home against the Kansas City Royals. Now Joey Gallo 1 for 2.
You check that pitch count there, 111 for Paxton last year. He had games of 110, 113. Career high 118 came back in 2014. I gotta believe this is his last hitter no matter what.
Eight strikeouts tonight for the left-hander. He's allowed 1 walk. 1-1 to Gallo. Ball and 2 strikes. Good crowd here. Many of them coming to their feet, trying to help Paxton to the finish line. And Gallo swings and misses at strike 3. 9 strikes outs tonight for James Paxton. Sends us to the bottom of the 8th. Brought to you by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by AT&T Internet. Visit AT&T.com/keepcalm to learn more. A beautiful night tonight here in Seattle, where the Mariners have had it their way so far. 5-0 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and Sam Dyson comes on here in relief.
Well, you see the numbers there. We know that Sam Dyson has gotten off to a slow start here. 11 earned runs in those 3 innings of work. A good opportunity for him here to get a low leverage, low pressure inning or so in here. Get a little bit of work in. Try to get back on track. Just working on controlling that sinker, keeping it down in the zone. You know, there's something I picked up on from watching Jonathan Lucroy and Sam Dyson work together. It seemed like Lucroy really wanted to get him throwing that ball in a little bit more, and for whatever reason Sam Dyson seemed like he was a little bit more comfortable going away. But he was also elevating more than he wanted to unintentionally, and it's another way he was getting himself in trouble. You see that? You see where Jonathan Lucroy was set up. He wants that ball down. He ended up running back over the part of the plate, but he at least wants Sam Dyson comfortable going in there. He doesn't throw a ball straight. He's going to come back over the plate a little bit, but he just wants him to see him. They're going to go in there again. He wanted to throw it. Shook to the changeup. And then back to the fastball away.
Bouncer up the middle. Gallo picks it up and retires Seager for out number 1. All right, time for our AT&T high-speed replay. And the big blow tonight, 6th inning, Motter against Mike Housechild. First batter Housechild faced, and that was the result.
Slider that Housechild got under, left a little bit flat in a 0-1 count. That was a big home run. At the time, it was still 2-0. The Rangers were in this game. That one blew it open a little bit.
And Dyson gets him to foul one off for a strike. So Motter 1 for 2. Also walked earlier tonight. Long, very uphill climb left for the Rangers tonight, and very little time to get there. Paxton, we assume, done after his 8 outstanding innings. And Motter shoots this one up into the stands. It's 0-2. Earlier we saw a little activity out in the bullpen for Seattle. So we trust that we will see some relief in the 9th inning.
Yeah, but that's still Nick Vincent, right? On the left, or pitching there. Yep, so that'll be him that'll come in. And is Mike Hampton?
Who will not come in.
Not coming in. Former Astro, Met, Rocky, Brave. Am I missing anybody? I played with him in Houston and in Atlanta. 2-time teammate, 2-time offender.
And his big deal was with Colorado.
I think he finished it out with Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. There might have been another team in there at the end. Good left-handed pitcher, competitive.
Good hitter, too.
Very good hitter.
Dyson's 1-2 pitch bounced up the middle, and Odor positioned perfectly 2 away. So nice job, Dyson, getting a couple of ground ball outs right away. And that's the old Sam Dyson we're used to seeing as you take a look at James Paxton.
Arizona was the team we forgot.
Yeah.
And actually, Mike Hampton came through this system in Seattle. Pitched a little bit here before he was traded to the Astros.
Still doesn't hold a candle to you, right, in terms of number of teams played for?
Let's see, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, amateur.
Okay.
I mean, he has a significantly better career, but yeah, 2 teams short and 4 teams in Asia. Short. 16 bombs in his career, too. He's got to be the most outstanding bullpen coach in history, right?
Probably.
Get somebody on that.
Yeah, he could swing it, man.
Sam Dyson looks good so far. No, these are not the kind of outings that we expected to see him in. Everyone matters.
Bouncer foul just wide of third base. Man, Manny Gonzalez hasn't had many easy ones.
Third base for an umpire is basically supposed to be a night off. As you see Joey Gallo try to backhand this ball, just is foul. And the way the umpire rotation works, you go from first base to home. Home plate, obviously, you're working the most. Slide you to third with the idea of that'll be a little bit of a breather, of some work to do, but not the case for Manny Gonzalez tonight. He has been working hard down there at third base.
So now 1-1 the count on Valencia. Had a triple back in the 5th inning. Strike 2. Dyson's been doing some extra workouts with Doug Brocail. They've been tweaking a couple of his mechanics, trying to get him straightened out again after a couple of rocky outings to begin his 2017 campaign. 1-2 pitch. Middle in.
And I think, again, that's what they want to see, is that 2-seam fastball in, getting comfortable going back in there, the way that Sam Dyson throws to those righties. I mentioned this last night. He's all the way with other guys. He's all the way on the first base side. Not extreme as much as other guys, but he is on the first base side of the rubber. You see him right there. So that sinker barreling in on the hands of righties can be very tough.
This ball hit high in the air, very well left field. This shields toward the corner and has room and completes the 1-2-3 inning. All right, last chance coming up for the Rangers. Delano DeShields will lead things off when we come back.
All the things that, we had to go through as African Americans, back in the day. And for him to come in and know what he was getting into and making those sacrifices just to give us an opportunity to play, it was kind of like he was God's angel coming down and just, making sure that today that, we're given an opportunity to play this game.
Delano will lead things off in this 9th inning. A special day around Major League Baseball, celebrating the 70th anniversary of Jackie Robinson breaking the color line with the Brooklyn Dodgers. 1947. Well, Delano will need to get on against Nick Vincent, and he will need to clear the way for a lot of his teammates to get on there as well. Down 5-0, Vincent's 5th relief appearance this year for the Mariners.
And ideally here for the Texas Rangers, a couple of base runners on, maybe try to get Edwin Diaz up in the bullpen he threw last night. It's an ideal situation to at least try to set things up for the finale tomorrow in the series.
A strike to DeShields, who 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts so far. And Vincent's one-strike offering a little bit high. Vincent, guy originally drafted by the San Diego Padres, 18th round pick in 2008. Coming to Long Beach State. And former Dirtbags 1-1. And he's ahead of DeShields here.
Didn't I see that? I think I saw Long Beach State had the most alumni in the major leagues right now.
Does not surprise me.
Yeah.
I feel like that's oftentimes the case. They have done a great job with that program over the years. DeShields strikes out to start the 9th inning, and we head down to the field with Emily Jones.
Guys, our State Farm winning combination tonight features Joey Gallo. Joey breaking up that no-hitter. He got the first hit of the night. He's been consistent throughout this season. The numbers have been good. The confidence has been there both at the plate and in the field. So that consistency of being in the lineup every day and that comfort level, not only out in the field but in the clubhouse. Tonight's State Farm winning combination, guys.
Okay, thanks, Emily. And may he get up this inning. That would make it an interesting game.
Would be ideal. He was good last night. He struggled a little bit this year, but 14 of 16 pitches for strikes from Diaz.
1-1 the count on Carlos Gomez, leadoff man, who is 0 for 3 with a walk. Pardon me, 0 for 2 with a walk. Paxton struck out 9. Vincent has his first of the night. And now is ahead 1-2 on Gomez.
He think about this now, it's through 2 starts. You mentioned Felix Hernandez. You're looking at 15 1/3 innings, eaten up by the starting rotation through 2 games and just 1 earned run. That was the one that Felix let up yesterday. But what's so important for the Mariners is the fact that those pitchers have gotten deep. They have not asked a lot of their bullpen.
2-2.
Just 1 walk. The walk from Paxton tonight. It's been a pretty good run so far for the Mariners and the production that they've gotten from their rotation.
Vincent rushes it past Gomez. Back-to-back strikeouts. Rangers are down to their final out.
Elevated here, just 89 miles an hour. Looked like a little cutter.
Andrew's been collared tonight in 3 tries. Well, that hasn't happened a whole lot. Takes one in. Elvis with a 5-game hitting streak on the line. 1-0. Toward in there. Boy, this was a red-hot Rangers offense coming in here. And so far quieted dramatically in the first 2 games against the Mariners. 1-2. Rangers 1 run on 9 hits in these first 2 games combined. Today they've been shut out on just 2 hits by James Paxton and now Nick Vincent. Strike 3 call, and Vincent dominating in his relief appearance tonight. Strikes out the side in order. This one is over. 5-0. Seattle takes the first 2 of the series. Well, coming up, John Radigan, Mike Bassick, David Murphy, they're back in studio. Whole lot to tell you about tonight. We'll break down Cashner's debut, and CJ will talk about the effort of James Paxton. For CJ Nikowski, Emily Jones, and our entire crew, this is Dave Raymond inviting you to stay with us. Fox Sports supports Southwest coverage. Tonight's game continues right after this.